All right, we have a pretty beat up interior here. With just a couple tools and the right chemical, we can clean this up to perfection. We have a scrub monster, we have a soft detail brush, we have a workaholic towel, your air gun of your choice. This is a Vortex, you can use just straight air, whatever you have is fine. If you don't have air, just use these 3 tools. And then we have a 32 ounce of Revive, our interior cleaner. This is all you need to get the perfect interior. Just cleaning up this door panel here. We got all kinds of buttons. We got kind of a pocket here in the door. One of the easiest things you can do, take your air tool, straight air, Vortex, doesn't matter. Go ahead and blow out all the cracks and crevices. All right. Now, you'll see a lot of things. We got a pretty beat up interior here. And so we're gonna take Revive. Revive is, to me, the cleanest interior cleaners. Gonna leave some UV protection behind, but it's gonna leave a perfectly matte finish. That is one of the most important things that I find when I'm detailing an interior is I wanna get this back to like new. We got some greasy bits here, could be suntan lotion, body lotion. We got some discoloration up here on the top, so this is a pretty beat up panel. Now, I see a lot of things online about I don't want to spray directly on the panel. You're gonna be here all day if you don't spray directly on the panel. You just wanna be mindful of the buttons, right? We don't wanna spray into the electronics directly. So the first thing I'm gonna do, let me get the spray pattern here, is I'm gonna spray all the dirty parts. Again, be mindful of the glass. Although Revive's fine on glass, get some into my brush, get some into my scrub monster, because again, we got to get to work here, right? Maybe it's your wife's car or it's your car and it's just been neglected, but you can see it starting to foam up here. And we have, this is a reality around this vehicle is it hasn't been well cared for, okay? My vehicle perfectly maintained or your vehicle perfectly maintained, your process may be a little different. This is for something that needs a lot of love, and we're gonna get around all the touch points here, and what you're gonna find, there's a brand new scrub monster. I think we've scrubbed a couple inches of the interior here, okay? So it's important, number one, not to be overly aggressive because Porsche, BMW, the dye of this, especially this brown dye, tends to start to come off. So we're not being overly aggressive by using the scrub monster and doing these types of things, but we're speeding the process up, right? Now, I'm gonna go in and wipe this away. And what you're gonna see is we don't have that uneven look anymore, which looks horrible, especially on black trim or black plastic. I hate that uneven look. We have some piano trim right here. That's gonna finish down perfectly. A lot of people miss the actual inside of the door handle where people touch. They always do this part that I'm wiping now, but they don't wipe the end where somebody actually grabs. That's oftentimes one of the dirtiest touch points in the interior. So we're just off the door panel, okay? We didn't even do the buttons because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go in, put a little Revive into my brush, and it allows me to work a little bit more precisely around the buttons. Again, not oversaturating. And I get why people are worried about spraying on the interior, okay? You're hearing a lot of bad advice. I understand there's a worry about spraying around buttons, so don't spray around them. It's a really simple fix. Use an ultra soft brush, work it in to the area. Don't oversaturate your brush and you won't cause any damage. Nobody's telling you to spray directly into the buttons, but how long would this door panel take if you were just spraying on the towel and scrubbing? Also, that aggression was spraying on the towel to get this fully clean. I'm gonna pull the clear coat, and that's what's on this leather is clear coat. Then all of a sudden I'm gonna look up and there's gonna be brown dye all over my towel. So actually what we did here using the Scrub Monster spraying directly on the dirty parts did what? It reduced the aggression, okay? Again, don't spray electronics, but absolutely spray door panels, especially when you're dealing with a not so well maintained vehicle. Now we have a door completely back to factory finish, which is the positive of Revive and why it's my favorite product, bar none. All right, as you're going around the detail, always shake any chemical. Now we got kick plate here, we got dead pedal, we got all kinds of things we got to handle. So again, I'm going to spray and get this handled. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and spray the pedals, and I'm going to be ready to go. I'm going to take Scrub Monster, get some sauce in there. We got nice foaming action. Okay, so this is, you got plastic that goes all the way in here. You want to make sure you hit it. This is why the Scrub Monster is an absolute time saver. Also, I have the seat all the way back. Okay, I want to be able to get in to all these areas. We'll go ahead and get the dead pedal. Okay, there's a piece of plastic that kind of runs up beside that. So I'm going to get some on my brush. I'm going to kind of kill a couple birds with one stone. We got this under part here as well. Okay, it's okay that it's dripping a little bit. Okay, we're going to get these pedals handled. Remember, there's nothing that's going to leave any kind of slippery substance. Got to be real careful with the products you use on pedals and things like that. See a lot of guys spraying dressings and all this kind of stuff. Marshall, as you know, that is a recipe for disaster. And now we can get this whole bottom plastic piece while we're down here. And these are the little detail. This to me is interior detailing. All the little cracks and crevices, different things like that. If you're seeing anything on the carpet, we only did a little pre-vacuum. We'll go and do a final vacuum at the very end. But look at that nice finish. Have some UV protection, some different things like that. But this to me is all in one, ready to go. We got a little paint, some kind of substance here. Obviously I wouldn't be sitting like this if we weren't trying to film it. So I'm gonna need some product here. I get it, there's seat buttons. There's all kinds of things right here. I understand guys get a little nervous about it. Don't be nervous. Just don't completely oversaturate it. Okay, and I'm gonna kind of stick my brush down in where the seat meets the plastic. And we're gonna, again, high touch point right here. You can see that paint substance looks like it's come off. Okay. And this is, to me, one of those things that the first thing you see when you're going to sit in your own car or a customer's car, oftentimes missed. And just going to give it a nice touch. But I love how Revive, you know, this is sort of a brushed plastic. Gives it that perfect factory finish, which is all I ever look for. We're working on a Porsche here, man. You don't want to leave some type of finish behind that's not Porsche finish. Somebody's paid a lot of money for this car. Let's leave it as natural look as we can. So remember all that gunk right there? It's gone. Revive has plenty of cleaning power, and now we got a factory finish. All right, so we picked up, there's all kinds of sheen on here, which could be body lotion, could be an improper cleaner. So what we're gonna try to do here is just do half the seat for you. That way we can kind of get a before and after. Okay? One of the most important things is to realize healthy leather doesn't have a sheen to it. Maybe some of you have heard that, maybe not. Like I said, I'm trying to do my best just to do half this seat so we can see what healthy leather looks like. Again, Scrub Monster's your friend here. Makes really quick work paired with Revive. And you can already see that the sheen is coming away from the seat, leaving us some healthy leather behind, which is a must for me. I paid all this money. If this was my Porsche, I'd want it to look like a Porsche. You know, some people get behind on their maintenance. That happens. And again, if you look at the difference now from here to here, Marty, you're going to be able to see this has a ton of sheen. This side, no sheen. We've removed whatever was there has been removed, and we got healthy leather again. All right, now we're on the inside of the car. We got everything kind of dialed from the door panel through the seat. One of the things you don't want to do is spray on the dash. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a deep clean. I'm going to work myself down because I don't want any debris from, and we got these vents up here. Good time for the brush. And what you don't want to do, same over here, what you don't want to do is contaminate your work area at all. So that's why we work from the top down as we get into the cockpit here, as we get into the driver's seat or we go to the back seat, is work from the top down on everything you do. Same on the door panel as you guys saw earlier. And these little vents on the Porsche here. Okay, one step we didn't show because you guys have seen it 1,000 times on the internet is blowing all this out. So we took air and we blew everything out before we did our initial vacuum. And so now, what do I do next? Well, it's simple. I'm working from the top down. I'm going to spray into my brush a little bit, and I'm going to go ahead and start hitting around the gauge clusters. I don't want to make more work for myself, so I'm not going to hit the gauge clusters unless they're super dirty. These are not super dirty, so just a wipe is usually enough. So I'm going to get all these little areas, the little key that Porsche puts in to start the car, and then I'm going to call that a section, right, to stay organized. And so I go here. I've stayed organized. Anybody can do this, right? You know, if you're a professional or you are, just doing this yourself, this is a process that anybody can use to stay organized. And that, honestly, that's a lot of detailing, is who stays the most organized when they're doing work are the ones that turn out their car looking the best at the car show or looking the best as a professional. Doesn't matter. It is what it is. So now, go back and give just a final little drying wipe of these areas. And we're now to the steering wheel, okay? So we've worked from the windshield down in an organized fashion, and now we have to make some decisions. First thing I'm going to do is spray some Revive into my scrub monster, and now it's time to kind of do some dirty work here. Probably the dirtiest part of an interior is the steering wheel. So instead of spraying this everywhere, I'm going to use the scrub monster to my advantage. And as you guys can see, look at the foam, look at the cleaning ability. Look at that. That is pretty gnarly stuff just coming right off the... And you can see it here, Marty, if you can get in there. Look at the dirt just collecting from using just the scrub monster. I don't have to worry about spraying. Now, here's the other thing. We talked about aggression. If you don't use something like the scrub monster, you got to use a crazy amount of pressure. You can start to wear away the protective coat on the leather. And this is pretty minimal pressure, just enough to keep the towel operating. Here's a crazy thing. Here's a definition of improper cleaning. Rings, different things marking up this leather. Look at that. That's how easy it is to mark up your leather. That is not going to come off. That is actually damaged leather there. So harsh cleaner, rings, harsh brushes, You know, people use really, really heavy agitation brushes on the interior. That's a big no-no. Gotta get a little fingernail action to get that off, but this is permanent, like nicked up damage. And again, I would hate to see that on my Porsche, but now we went from a damaged, you know, real greasy finish, and as I dry this, what you're gonna see, I'm trying to get myself out of the light, is you'll see a matte finish on that steering wheel. We went from extremely dirty and greasy to perfect finish. No boogers or anything of those kind there. So I know you guys all have felt that if you've detailed a car or two. So just a nice, perfect finish. And again, this was in pretty rough shape. So we didn't go overly aggressive with harsh cleaners or anything like that. But it shows you how easy you can get damage on a steering wheel. So now we got all these little intricate parts of a Porsche steering wheel. We got all the stems and different things. So I'm going to spray some into the brush. And now I'm going to start to work these intricate areas and clean these up. I wanted to get that dirt, that heavy dirt that was all over the steering wheel. I didn't want to clean that secondary, to be honest with you, because it kind of has a chance to fling dirt down on these turn signal stems and cruise control stem and all this kind of little intricate stuff. And I'll show you a little secret how to get that perfectly detailed steering wheel here at the end. This is, to me, probably one of the most satisfying parts to clean on a car that hasn't been taken care of. Make sure you don't ruin your exterior work if you did that. Make sure you put this to off, because I bet more than one of us has done that mistake, huh, Marshall?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
So, again, just take your time. This was incredibly shiny and dirty and grimy. And just in a few steps, organized steps, we brought the steering wheel back to life. And to me, it's one of those things that I enjoy doing. I know even on my own car, paddle shifters, different things like that, just to get that perfectly detailed look is something that I've always loved. And so now, again, I didn't even have to use an air tool. There's a lot of guys getting out of hand with the air tool. If you actually want to see where you'd leave a lot of damage, use an air tool around these small buttons improperly, as I'm sure we've all kind of experienced. So let me show you a little extra detail here that I always do is I take my towel, undo it, and get in behind the steering wheel with a little bit of a sawing motion. On some cars, you know, when you turn, Marshall, I know you've seen this. When you turn, you see that dirty spot behind, you know, when you turn here and then you're like, man, that thing looks dirty. So we went ahead and just handled that with a little sawing motion. Go in there and pick up any debris. That's kind of that next level tip right there that a lot of guys miss. As somebody turns and they get to look blankly right into this part of the steering wheel area, it looks pretty grimy. So that little tip should help some guys. All right, so cockpit from the windshield down, this is my cutoff. I haven't hit the vent, I haven't hit this area real detailed yet. So now I can go to my center section. So now we're on to the center console. We got two removable things. All right, so we removed the cup holder inlay. There's this other little piece here as well. There's a lot of guys that remove them from the car. I get that, but I'm already in the car. I want to make sure my process is dialed in. I'm going to go ahead and start soaking these two. I've laid a towel on the seat so I don't soak the seat. The towel, go ahead and take that. So I don't get the seat wet, I'm going to go ahead and start soaking cup holders, all those nasty bits. I'm going to put a little bit of extra on my towel. I'm going to spray a little bit into my brush because now I'm working kind of intricate areas, okay? So we're going to wipe from the top down, and I'm going to start. Don't worry about the screen. The screen is in bad shape, okay? So we need some cleaner on there. This stuff is not oversaturated. I know the screen looks a little bit wet right now, but I'm going to go to the gear shift and get everything from the gear shift up, okay? I want to separate this out because I have a dirty interior. And now what you're going to see, the beauty of Revive, is I can use it on nav screens. Go ahead, flip it. I have no streaking, no anything negative on that. Now I'm going to wipe all the excess out of the vents, and I'm just going to work my way down. Okay, this is the beauty of starting top down. It's impossible to miss anything if you work in sections. Remember, I said I stopped at the gear shift. We have all these buttons, all these touch points, plus we have black piano trim, and we're going to get a perfect finish with Revive. Now, what do I do in this little like ashtray section is I'm going to go ahead and lift it up and get all the little corners. Remember, we blew it out with air to begin with, but just hitting it again is so helpful. Okay, so now we stay organized. I need to get some more cleaner into my brush. I get why people say don't spray in the interior. It's because they're talking about these parts. But remember, on the door panels and stuff, we don't have that. So now I'm going to go in and I'm going to get all these little areas. And I don't care if I overlap or go up a little bit. I'd rather overlap and do a little too much and get everything dialed in. Okay, so I'm going to go all the way to the cup holder. I'm going to do something with the Scrub Monster here. These are kind of touch points that don't exist in a whole bunch of cars. So one of the things I'm going to do here is I'm going to take the Scrub Monster, because I know people put their hands all over these. I'm going to hit these little parts with the Scrub Monster to give myself just a little bit of that scrubbing action on both sides. Again, this isn't in every car, obviously, but it is in Porsche. So look at all that cleaning ability we have. Let me hit the Scrub Monster one more time. This is a little bit of a beat up interior. Let me go ahead and get the gear shift knob itself a little bit heavier. And again, look at that. So let's go ahead and wipe all the excess. Okay. I just love the fact, and the reason that this was one of my pet projects when I came on as an owner of hyperCLEAN, is because I run into these cars on a daily basis, and look at all these different spots. You got coated leather, you got leather with some brushed plastic, you got brushed plastic, you got piano black trim. Like, this stuff can become a headache if you have the wrong product, if you have the wrong process. Revive is used in my business every single day on all kinds of sensitive cars, Bugattis, Ferraris, Porsche, and they just have so many different things on the interior that this kind of puts my mind at ease that I can give my guys, myself, one product. Now, we're not going to do it because we're on film here. Everyone knows the next move. We'll do this after the camera. We're going to go ahead and put this in park, or excuse me, put this in drive and get the other part of the shifter. We don't need to show you that, but that is something we needed to bring up as a number one move to make. And so we got a little crevice down here we want to make sure we get, and that's a perfectly detailed center console. Now we got to get to something else. So all we did was soak these. We haven't touched them yet. Look at how it cleaned it up. Again, we didn't get the seat dirty below because we just used a towel. I don't like going in and out of the car, so it's a little speed up process. So these were in pretty bad shape. So I'm going to take that excess cleaner. I'm just going to put it on the towel that I set there. And now I'm just going to detail these out by hand. Little scrubbing with the towel. Make sure to get the bottom. Okay. All we did was soak these, and these were in rough shape. Go ahead and look at that now. We have a little bit of lint here. Look at that finish now. All we did was soak them with Revive. This one wasn't in bad shape, but it's a real eyesore in these Porsches right here if you don't get them right. So I'm going to go ahead and get them right. Give it that detailed look. Go ahead and put it back. Before I put the inlay for the cup holder, I'm going to do a couple things. I'm going to give this a nice detailed wipe. This is where air helps, is that you blew all this kind of out where all the crumbs and different things are. There's actually another part of these Porsches that I would absolutely take out. There's a little cover for the lighter that can start to look gnarly around all the edges. So you have a cup holder with this in there, and you didn't detail it, and so it looks dirty. It makes their cup holder look dirty because it's the number one thing that they see. So I'm just going to go in here, lightly scrub the area, and now I have no dust, dirt, anything in there. This is just that extra step that gives you the difference between I went to a car wash or I didn't know what I was doing. And then it says 12 volt on it. Let me give you the ultimate detail. Make sure that's squared away. Make sure that that is perfectly square how somebody would read it. If you look at that, that's going to give you that different level. We're going to go ahead and put this back. Of course, in that Porsche fit and finish, these fit in nice and snug. Going to give it one final wipe around the area and check my work. Got a little bit here. And all we did was work from windshield down. We still have the armrest to go, but you have a perfectly detailed center console from windshield back, and we'll go ahead and get to the armrest next. So one of the things on the armrest, notice that I'm always shaking my chemical as I go. I'm going to go ahead and spray a little bit of chemical here. Okay, this is the most dirty part of any thing left that we have. And I get it, I got some overspray and some things I'll go wipe. Look at that, just complete filth. Oh, make sure I go to my no more shine, no more sheen. Let's go ahead and just give this a quick buff. And that to me is perfectly detailed. We now have zero glossiness, zero sheen, zero anything. That's a perfectly detailed driver through center console. I'll take it every time. Often missed part of an interior detail is this part right here. Center console for the back. We got all kinds of dirt and grime in here. A lot of guys miss it. And it is really nasty and dirty on a lot of cars. People have their dogs, kids, whatever. Gathers a ton of dirt. And now, perfectly detailed. All right, gonna clean up some mats, Porsche mats. We're just gonna take our interior cleaner, Revive. We're gonna go ahead and start soaking all the mats here. They're pretty grimy. But you guys have seen this process a million times, I'm sure. Just get some cleaner, get a brush you like. You don't have to use something harsh. A lot of guys use things that are very degreasing on these types of things, and the problem is it'll kind of give it that grayish look instead of black. And so we just want to make sure we got grooves here, so we want to go with the grooves. You don't want to overthink matte cleaning. We're going to go from dirty to clean just using our simple Revive cleaner, and we're not going to get that ugly graying. You can already see that the Porsche looks a lot more white. Had like that grayish hue to it, almost like a brown. Using our interior cleaner kind of makes it come back to life. Now you can see, you pull back here, Marty, this was brown before. Now we got that white Porsche back. Nothing harsh, it's not going to gray the matte. And so we'll let these dry and you have a perfect finish.